Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm going to go over my trade that I wasn't able to take it today, but I did see a setup intraday. Didn't really see any clean setups in pre-market. I'll go ahead and go over some market context real quick. So you can tell that both ES and NQ have just recently broken out of these downwards trend lines. And they totally skyrocketed over the past 2 days. I think it was just the past 2 days. Well, yeah, the past 2 days, and today we had a little bit of a pullback, which is expected after this much of a rally. We're going to see a pullback at some point, and this is kind of what the only trade that only setup that I saw was based upon was this big rally, and we had a ascending wedge forming on ES. So an ascending wedge, it wasn't really tightening. Like this would have, kept going for a while. Probably would have ended up breaking at all-time highs. But nevertheless, this is the only thing I saw. So we were respecting this pretty well. Even in after hours, or excuse me, pre-market, respecting it pretty well. And then we opened up and came below. So that was kind of like, I wanted to see if this was a fake out, but sellers were pretty heavy this morning. So I'll show you guys on a shorter time frame, the 5 minute. I saw this descending wedge forming within the ascending wedge. So as a scalper, I was thinking that maybe I could play a little rally breakout to the upside of this descending wedge. That didn't end up working out. So I actually traded on the 1 minute again today. I'll go ahead and show you the reason for that real quick. So you can see on NQ, before we had this big downtrend over here, we were just trading in this channel between these two or three key levels here. And I mean, we respected them very well, just up and down, consolidating. And then we had this big move down. Now we had this big move up, and we're back inside this channel. So while we're inside of this channel, there's really not going to be too many high quality trading opportunities. But as a scalper, I can find ways to kind of find setups anywhere on any time frame. So now that we're up in this channel, I was looking at these descending wedges to see if I could just get a little bounce at the open today, play calls, and maybe we would, make it up to one of these key levels, pre-market highs, and then pull back, but it didn't work out that way. There was not a whole lot of volume this morning, not a whole lot of follow through, just really weird action that can really mess with your emotions. So let me just go through the open again. So I actually missed the open too because my computer, I guess, was muted and I didn't hear the bells. So we kind of attempted to break out to the upside, rejected yesterday's high of day. So that's a bearish signal. And then we broke all the way down below. Sorry, this is on 5 minute. Let me put this on 1 minute. Okay, so at 9:30, you can see we broke out to the upside. Go to 9:30 over here too. So actually over here, we were up in supply and we just totally dumped through the ascending wedge or descending wedge. So we kind of broke out right before market open in supply, dropped straight down. So that's just pretty much overall bearish, relatively weaker than ES, which was why I played puts today, and I was looking at QQQ because we were relatively weaker and we kind of had more room to run below. So you can see we had this 2-hour demand down here, 30-minute demand here unused. But over here we had pre-market lows working against us and this weekly key level that was respected overnight. Pre-market, let me see if I can show you real quick. So you can see that this level was held pretty well. And that was actually right before market close yesterday. So this key level was respected. Buyers want to keep us up above this level. So with that context, I wanted to play QQQ puts. One, we were relatively weaker, like I said, and two, there were less obstacles for us to get through over here to have a good drop. But anyway, I was really pretty patient this morning, just kind of sitting on my hands, waiting for a setup to develop. And, I needed more data to come in from the market to really find a trade for the day, because the setup that I had this morning didn't work out. We broke out of this descending wedge to the downside. And that was not what I was expecting at all. And over here, we broke out barely right before market open and just dumped. So these setups didn't really work out, but I could use them as reference points because a lot of other retail traders were watching them. So since I missed this first move here, I was looking to play calls. I was not comfortable with trading this or buying puts up here because I was bullish. Pre-market action, we were bullish until we hit pre-market highs and then just kind of sold off at the top of this higher time frame ascending wedge. So we hit this upper trend line. This is I wouldn't really call this bearish. It's just following the trend. But we made pre-market highs up here that formed an ascending wedge, and then we sold off. So I was expecting a bounce here, if anything, and to continue higher. But as market data came in, it was kind of weird action showing that bears were in control. So then I looked for a entry for puts, and I'll show you what that looked like. My order did not go through today because I actually my autosend on Active Trader actually had 10 contracts. So see, I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I need to save my layout when it has 1 instead of 10. But I do not have enough money to buy 10 contracts, 7 days till expiration. So I got rejected and I missed out on this move. Just a rookie mistake, something I didn't even think to check for, and I probably should check for every time. But other than that, it's always kept 1 contract. So anyway, I entered I would have entered at 9:37. Okay, so we came down, sold off, found buyers down here at pre-market lows. Really no judgment point or landmark, whatever you want to call it, over here on NQ to see why we bounced. But over here, we saw that there were obviously buyers at pre-market low. We got a little rally and NQ followed. Now, this candle came up and did not close above the trend line, but the next one did. And we also pushed through the hourly higher time frame ascending wedge. So I was kind of expecting a bounce here, but only if we were able to push above high of day, which was very unlikely. We had a lot of sellers factored in. So as we started pushing up, losing momentum, we kept closing below this upper trend line with upper wicks. And over here, we actually came up and hit the upper trend line and rejected all the way down to under the bottom trend line, and then had another basing candle that retested and closed below over here. So I was like, beautiful, definitely going to short this as long excuse me, as long as this next candle on ES closes below yesterday's close. That shows that it's pushing into demand, so sellers are putting pressure on the bulls, and that was going to give me my confirmation to enter. So as soon as this candle formed, 9:36, I entered like right at 9:37, or at least I tried and got rejected. And so the way that I've been doing my targets is I just kind of like I just ride the trend. So I guess you could say my first target would have been, well, that's not very true. I was playing QQQ puts, so I guess my actual first target over here would have been this 30-minute demand. But I look over here on ES for confluence to see that we are maintaining bearish confirmations over here to see if I need to take off or take profit over here. So we had nice follow through here. I saw this bearish confirmation. We pushed below that hourly trend line. We also pushed below pre-market lows. A little bit of buyers sitting down here. I might have gotten shaken out on this candle, to be honest with you, just because we pushed back up above pre-market lows very quickly. But 1 minute candles have a lot of manipulation, like within the first few seconds. So I have a feeling this was just the first few seconds, low volume, like pushed all the way up, and then sellers brought us back down. If that was the case, I would have stayed in. But let's just say I would have gotten shaken out right here. So I used, there was no target over here. I guess you could say my target for QQQ puts was this pre-market low on ES. Sometimes you just got to kind of figure out a way to judge your trade, because this worked out very well. I got this as soon as we came back up here. I either would have gotten shaken out right here or right here. So, same thing either way. But I just really have started getting comfortable with being able to compare the two charts and use these different landmarks or judgment points, key levels, supply and demand, chart patterns. You want to use these different points as reference points to judge market participation. So I've stopped overthinking trading. Basically, my confirmation is, okay, if sellers are present up here and want us to continue downward, then we will close below this level. We may retest, but if it's going to go in my favor, usually it'll retest and stay below the upper wick of the last candle, because I usually use the upper wick of the the close below candle as my stop loss. So for example, this one here, I probably would have had my stop at this upper trend line, or no, I had it at pre-market lows, my bad. So I had my stop at pre-market lows just because that's such a key area. So really tight stop on this, and I ended up, I would have ended up, making decent reward for such a tight stop. But, this is just my style of trading. I don't know if it's like a common style of trading. I kind of think of it as like a stair stepping technique or a ladder climbing technique, if that makes sense. You just kind of let price move, ride the momentum, ride the trend, and see how it reacts at these different levels. And if we're able to, close below this level, for example, then we step onto the next rung of the ladder. We take the next step and watch the next level. And if this looks, like bulls are starting to take over, then you close out your position here. But if not, then you take the next step. Then you keep going down to the next key level or whatever, whether it's on ES or NQ. And I think this is a really, really good way to trade, just because you get a really good idea of what the market is doing. And if you can combine this with VPA, um, the book that I read was Anna Colling's Complete Guide on Volume Price Analysis. I've read it about 2 times now, but really just staring at the charts and understanding what is happening, where sellers are factored in after this rally and this big upper wick up here. We got a lot of sellers factored in. So this rally after we broke below this key trend line, it's probably not as high probability that it's going to make it all the way back up there because we have all those sellers factored in. So, these buyers may take out a few of the sellers that get scared. So this is weaker next time when we come up and break through. But this first time, you see this wall of sellers still in these upper wicks. There's a chance that we're going to have this pullback. So, look for a bearish entry, understand where the buyers and sellers are, and that is truly how you master trading. I mean, I'm nowhere close, but I've seen a lot of improvement trading this style. Don't overthink it. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Still very new, like I said. I've been trading for 9 months. Nowhere near consistently profitable, but I'm able to find, valid trades pretty much every day at this point, whether I take them or not. So, just trying to find a lesson in every single day of trading, and hoping to improve and finally see some progress. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day and take care.